Hey, tonight we're diving into a chapter of history where toughness wasn't just a virtue. It was the only way to survive. We're talking about the World War II trench, a place that makes the Wild West seem like a luxury resort. You might think your modern resilience could see you through, but trust me, the sheer, relentless discomfort and psychological strain of trench life were designed to break even the strongest spirits. If you find yourself enjoying these deep dives into the past, please consider giving us a quick like or even a subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow and allows us to bring you more unique stories. And speaking of unique, I'm always curious where our global community is tuning in from. So drop a comment below with your location and what time it is for you right now. It's truly wonderful to see our little corner of the internet connecting people worldwide. Now, dim the lights. Maybe put on some quiet background noise. And let's ease into tonight's journey together as we explore exactly why you wouldn't last a single day in a World War II trench. Congratulations! You've just woken up in a trench on the Western Front during World War II, a setting far removed from any comfort you've ever known, and your chances of a normal, pleasant day just vanished. The very first assault on your senses isn't the distant rumble of artillery, but something far more insidious and pervasive. The smell-and overwhelming, suffocating blend of damp earth, stale sweat, unwashed bodies, human waste, decaying sandbags, and the acrid tang of disinfectant and lingering cordite. This isn't a temporary odor. It's a permanent fixture, an invisible, cloying blanket that clings to your clothes, your skin, and even seems to permeate your very thoughts. You quickly learn that washing is an almost mythical concept here. Water is a precious commodity, strictly rationed for drinking and cooking. Certainly not for the luxury of a full bath. A quick sponge down with a tiny amount of cold, often muddy water is a rare treat, leaving you feeling marginally cleaner but never truly fresh. The pervasive grime becomes a second skin, and the itch, constant and maddening, soon follows. As you push yourself up from your makeshift bed, perhaps a damp dugout floor or a narrow, muddy ledge, every muscle in your body screams in protest. The constant stooping, climbing, and navigating of the uneven, slippery trench floor, combined with the endless physical labor, has already taken its toll. Your back aches, your knees are stiff, and your shoulders throb from carrying equipment. There are no ergonomic chairs or soft mattresses here. Only the hard, unyielding earth or rough wooden planks. Life in the trenches is an unceasing cycle of physical exertion. You might be tasked with shoring up collapsing walls, moving heavy supplies, digging new sections of trench, or repairing barbed wire. This isn't a 9-to-5 job with a coffee break. It's a relentless, dawn to dusk and often through the night, grind that demands every ounce of your physical stamina. You've probably never experienced true exhaustion until now, the kind that permeates your bones and makes even the simplest movement feel like an impossible feat. The continuous strain means that by your 30s, if you even reach them, your body feels decades older, permanently etched with the marks of this brutal existence. The next immediate challenge after the smell and the aches is the cold, even in what might be considered mild weather. The damp, subterranean environment of the trench seeps into your very core. The earth itself seems to radiate a chilling, penetrating dampness that your thin uniform, even layered, struggles to combat. Your fingers quickly become numb, your toes lose all feeling, and a shiver becomes a constant companion, an unwelcome tremor that never quite leaves you. You quickly discover that dry socks are a mythical luxury, and the battle against trench foot, a debilitating condition caused by prolonged exposure to cold, wet, unsanitary conditions, is a daily, desperate struggle. You learn to wring out your socks whenever possible, rub your feet vigorously, and pray for even a moment of warmth or dryness. Sleep, when it comes, is a fragmented, fitful affair. The constant noise, from the distant rumble of artillery to the drip of water, the scurry of rats, and the muffled conversations of your comrades, ensures that true rest is elusive. You snatch moments of unconsciousness wherever and whenever you can. often sitting upright, leaning against a muddy wall, or curled uncomfortably in a cramped dugout. The sleep is never deep, always on edge, always ready to be shattered by an unexpected sound or a shouted command. You wake up feeling more exhausted than when you lay down, your mind still buzzing with an anxious energy that refuses to dissipate. The concept of a quiet, peaceful night is a distant memory, a luxury from another lifetime. Then there are the pests. The trenches are an ecosystem unto themselves, teeming with life you'd rather not share your living space with. Rats, fat and fearless, are your constant companions. They scurry through the mud, over your feet, and even across your face as you try to sleep, drawn by the omnipresent food scraps and the sheer density of human habitation. Their audacity is shocking, their numbers overwhelming. You quickly learn to ignore them, or at least try to, but their presence is a constant, unsettling reminder of the unsanitary conditions. And then there are the lice. Small, persistent, and maddeningly itchy. They colonize your hair, your clothes, and every crease of your body. Delousing efforts are frequent, but rarely successful, and the incessant itching becomes a psychological torment. You find yourself scratching almost unconsciously, a constant, irritating reminder of your helplessness against these tiny invaders. Privacy, a concept so fundamental to modern life, simply does not exist. You live in incredibly close quarters, with dozens, if not hundreds, of other people. Every action, every sound, every bodily function is witnessed or overheard. There's no escaping the constant presence of others, no quiet corner to retreat to, no moment of solitude. This complete lack of personal space is mentally draining, adding another layer of stress to an already overwhelming situation. You learn to filter out the constant background noise of human activity, but the emotional weight of always being on and never truly alone weighs heavily. The food, when it arrives, is often monotonous and unappetizing. Biscuits that are rock hard, canned rations that taste metallic, and tea that's more mud than beverage become your sustenance. It's enough to survive, but far from enjoyable. Hot meals are rare luxuries, cherished moments of warmth and flavor that break the relentless monotony. You eat quickly, almost mechanically, driven by hunger rather than pleasure, and the thought of fresh, wholesome food from home becomes a powerful, tantalizing fantasy. The lack of variety and fresh produce also takes a toll on your body, weakening your immune system and leaving you susceptible to illness. The mud. Oh, the mud. It is everywhere. It coats everything, sticks to everything, and seems to have a life of its own. It's a thick, clinging, viscous substance that can be ankle-deep, knee-deep, or even waist-deep in places. Every step is a struggle, a fight against its suctioning grip. Your boots are perpetually caked, your trousers perpetually soaked, and the trench floor is a treacherous, slippery quagmire. The mud infiltrates your uniform, gets into your food, and even seems to get into your pores. It's a constant, demoralizing presence, a heavy, wet blanket that smothers any hope of cleanliness or comfort. Trying to keep anything even remotely clean is an exercise in futility. Your uniform, your rifle, your mesquital are perpetually coated in a layer of brown, viscous earth. You spend precious moments attempting to scrape it off, only for it to be replaced within minutes. This endless, losing battle against the mud contributes to the pervasive sense of despair and futility that permeates trench life. It's a physical manifestation of the overwhelming, oppressive environment. The soundscape of the trench is a cacophony of constant, low-level noise, punctuated by sudden, terrifying crescendos. There's the ceaseless drip of water, the rustle of rats, the murmur of voices, the clinking of equipment, the distant, dull thud of artillery fire, and the occasional crack of a rifle. Your ears are constantly on alert, processing every sound, trying to discern if it signals danger or just another mundane moment. The lack of true silence is another subtle form of torture, preventing your mind from ever fully relaxing or finding peace. Maintaining personal hygiene is not just difficult, it's practically impossible. The scarcity of water means that washing your hands is a luxury, leading to a constant risk of infection and disease. Minor cuts and scrapes, which are common due to the rough environment, can quickly become serious if not treated promptly, and medical supplies are often limited. The sheer number of people living in such close, unsanitary conditions creates a breeding ground for various ailments. Colds, flu, dysentery, and more serious diseases spread rapidly through the cramped quarters. A persistent cough is almost universal, and the sound of someone being violently ill is a common occurrence. Your body is under constant assault, not just from the external conditions but also from the microscopic organisms thriving in the trench environment. The days blend into an indistinguishable continuum. There's no weekend, no holiday, no sense of time passing normally. The routine, though demanding, can feel endlessly repetitive, broken only by the immediate needs of survival or the sudden demands of duty. This monotony is mentally taxing, leading to a blurring of days and a feeling of being trapped in an inescapable loop. You might try to keep track of the date by scratching marks into a wall or listening to the infrequent mail delivery, but the true passage of time loses its meaning, replaced by the rhythm of hunger, exhaustion, and vigilance. The mental burden is immense. You are constantly on edge, constantly aware of the potential for danger, even when things are quiet. The sheer boredom, punctuated by moments of intense, heart-pounding terror, is a unique psychological challenge. Your mind struggles to process the mundane and the extreme, swinging between listlessness and hyper-alertness. This constant state of anxiety grinds you down, making it difficult to concentrate, to connect, or even to think clearly. You find yourself retreating into your own thoughts, or simply existing in a state of numb resignation. The psychological toll of living in such an environment with no end in sight is profound. Hope can feel like a dangerous luxury, and despair a constant companion. Yet, amidst all this, there are moments of camaraderie. Sharing a joke, a piece of chocolate, or a letter from home can provide a brief, flickering spark of humanity and connection. These small acts of kindness and shared experience become lifelines, reminding you that you are not alone in this ordeal. The bonds forged in the trenches are unlike any other, born of shared suffering and mutual reliance. You learn to rely on your comrades, and they on you, for everything from a watchful eye during sleep to a comforting word during moments of fear. These relationships are often the only thing that keeps you going. The constant dampness and cold also make it almost impossible to dry anything out. Your clothes are perpetually clammy, your boots squelch with every step, and even your bedding feels like a cold, wet sponge. This lack of dryness is not just uncomfortable. It's a profound drain on your energy and morale. You long for the feeling of warm, dry clothes against your skin, a sensation that seems as distant as the moon. The trench itself is a labyrinth of interconnected ditches, some shallow, some deep, some fortified with timber and sandbags, others merely muddy gashes in the earth. Navigating them requires constant attention, especially at night. You stumble over roots, trip on discarded equipment, and slide in the ubiquitous mud. Every movement is a deliberate, exhausting act. The walls are often crumbling, threatening to collapse, and the floor is uneven, pockmarked with puddles and hidden obstacles. It's a world designed to impede progress and amplify discomfort. Your body is not just tired, it's perpetually battered and bruised from minor falls and collisions. The very structure of your living space is a constant source of irritation and minor injury. The sky, when you can see it, is a narrow strip above the trench, a cruel reminder of the open world beyond your confined existence. Even when the sun shines, its warmth struggles to penetrate the damp depths of your dugout. You crave sunlight, fresh air, and the feeling of open space. But these are luxuries reserved for a different world, one that seems impossibly far away. The claustrophobic nature of the trench, the constant feeling of being enclosed and confined, takes a toll on your mind. You yearn for the vastness of the open fields, the feeling of freedom that comes with an unobstructed horizon. But you are trapped within these narrow earthen walls. The simple act of stretching out fully, of standing upright without brushing against a muddy wall becomes a cherished dream. And then there's the routine of observation. You spend hours peering over the parapet, through a periscope, or from a designated lookout post, scanning the desolate landscape of no man's land. This activity is mind-numbingly boring, yet demands absolute focus. Every shadow, every movement, every subtle shift in the wind could signal something important. Your eyes strain, your neck stiffens, and your mind drifts, only to snap back to attention with a jolt of self-reproach. The pressure of vigilance, of knowing that lives depend on your attentiveness, is an immense weight. The lack of personal possessions is another jarring reality. You carry only what is absolutely essential, and everything you own is exposed to the elements in the constant damp. A cherished photograph, a worn letter from home, a small lucky charm. These are your only connections to your previous life, held onto with desperate tenderness. The simplicity of your possessions stands in stark contrast to the abundance of modern life, highlighting how much has been stripped away. Even the smallest comforts, like a warm drink or a dry piece of cloth, become moments of profound gratitude. The sounds of daily life are a constant backdrop. The distant murmur of conversations, the clatter of mess tins, the occasional cough or sneeze, the rhythmic scrape of a shovel digging, the soft hum of insects, and the constant, almost imperceptible whisper of the wind through the trench itself. These aren't the sounds of a peaceful home. They're the sounds of an artificial, high-stress environment, an auditory landscape that never truly allows your mind to rest. Your hearing becomes hypersensitive, picking up on minute details, a survival mechanism born of necessity. The constant smell of cigarette smoke, mingled with the damp earth and stale air, adds another layer to the sensory overload. Even if you don't smoke, it's a pervasive aroma, a coping mechanism for many, a small comfort in a world devoid of them. The brief moments of shared cigarette breaks become informal rituals, opportunities for quiet reflection or hushed conversation, brief islands of shared humanity in a sea of discomfort. It is a slow, insidious poison that creeps into your mind. Hours stretch into an eternity with little to do but wait, watch, and endure. You try to occupy your mind with memories of home, with plans for the future, or with simple games like cards, but the oppressive reality of your situation constantly pulls you back. This relentless monotony is just as exhausting as the physical labor, draining your mental reserves and making every minute feel like an hour. You yearn for anything, any distraction, any genuine novelty, to break the relentless dullness. The feeling of being watched, even when you see no one, is a constant, unsettling presence. The knowledge that an unseen enemy could be observing you from afar, that danger could strike at any moment from beyond your line of sight, adds a layer of paranoia to your existence. Your senses are constantly stretched thin, your imagination working overtime, creating unseen threats in every shadow and every distant sound. This pervasive sense of vulnerability, of being exposed to an invisible enemy, is a heavy weight on your psyche. And the lack of hot water. The simple luxury of a warm shower, of feeling truly clean, becomes an almost unimaginable dream. Your body yearns for it, for the sensation of warmth and freshness that has been denied for so long. The cold, wet clamminess of your environment is a constant physical reminder of what you lack, and the desire for cleanliness becomes an almost obsessive fantasy, a symbol of everything that has been lost. The simple act of boiling water for tea becomes a significant event, a brief moment of warmth and comfort that is cherished beyond measure. The constant maintenance of equipment is another unceasing task. Your rifle, your helmet, your tools, all must be kept clean, functional, and ready for use at a moment's notice, despite the pervasive mud and damp. This meticulous attention to detail is critical for your survival, but it's also a tedious, repetitive chore that fills much of your time. You learn to strip down and reassemble your rifle in the dark, with numb fingers, as a matter of routine. The small victories, like successfully cleaning a muddy piece of gear, provide fleeting moments of satisfaction. The sounds of everyday trench life are a symphony of the mundane and the militaristic. The low rumble of supply trucks far behind the lines, the distant bark of a dog from a nearby village, the creaking of timber in the dugout roof, the constant soft splash of mud, and the almost unheard hum of your own breath. These are the sounds of your new normal, a soundtrack of endurance and survival. Your ears become attuned to every nuance, every subtle change in this auditory landscape. The ever-present threat of disease is not just a concept, but a daily reality. The unsanitary conditions mean that even a minor cough can escalate, a small wound can fester, and a simple stomach upset can lead to debilitating dysentery. You see comrades fall ill, their bodies racked by invisible enemies, and the knowledge that you could be next is a constant, unspoken fear. The resilience of the human body is tested to its absolute limits in this environment, and the fragility of life is on stark display. The lack of fresh air, particularly in the dugouts, creates a stale, oppressive atmosphere. The air is thick with the scent of unwashed bodies, tobacco smoke, and the damp earth. You crave a deep breath of clean, crisp air, but it's a longing that remains unfulfilled for days, weeks, or even months on end. The constant inhalation of this heavy, recycled air leaves you feeling sluggish and lightheaded, another subtle drain on your energy. The psychological game of waiting is perhaps the hardest part. You wait for orders, you wait for food, you wait for mail, and you wait for an end that seems to recede further with each passing day. This passive endurance, this constant state of suspended animation, is profoundly taxing on the human spirit. Your mind grapples with the uncertainty, the lack of control, and the endless horizon of just one more day. The concept of a normal future, of returning to a life without this constant vigilance, feels increasingly remote, almost like a fantasy. The small, simple pleasures become disproportionately important. A piece of chocolate, a hot cup of tea, a shared laugh, a letter from home, a brief moment of sunshine. These fleeting moments of respite are clung to with desperation. They are tiny beacons of light in an otherwise overwhelming darkness, brief reminders of the humanity that still exists despite the dehumanizing conditions. These small joys become the fuel that keeps you going, even when you feel you have nothing left. The constant dampness also leads to persistent aches and pains in your joints and muscles. The cold seeps into your bones, and the lack of proper rest means your body never truly recovers. You learn to live with a baseline level of discomfort, a dull throb that is always present, an irritating reminder of your body's constant struggle against the elements. The thought of a warm bath and a comfortable bed becomes a powerful, almost religious, obsession, a symbol of everything you've lost and desperately crave. And the sound of your own voice, often lost amidst the general din, becomes a comfort. Talking, even about trivial things, helps to maintain a sense of normalcy and connection. Sharing stories, reminiscing about home, or simply complaining together helps to lighten the psychological load, reinforcing the shared experience and the bonds of camaraderie. These conversations, often whispered in the dark, become a vital lifeline. The feeling of dirt and grit under your fingernails, on your teeth, and embedded in your skin is a constant, tactile reminder of your environment. You can never feel truly clean, and the gritty sensation becomes an irritating background noise to your existence. It's a physical manifestation of the overall squalor, a constant reminder that you are living far removed from any sense of civility or comfort. The craving for proper cleanliness is almost as strong as the craving for food, and the pervasive sound of dripping water, a relentless, monotonous rhythm that permeates the trench. It's the sound of the earth weeping, a constant reminder of the dampness that surrounds you. It's a sound that can lull you into a state of semi-consciousness, or drive you to distraction, depending on your mental state. It's the soundtrack to your subterranean existence. The simple act of maintaining a fire, often in a small, crude stove in a dugout, becomes a significant effort. Sourcing fuel, keeping the flame alive in the damp conditions, and managing the smoke in confined spaces are constant challenges. But the warmth, however fleeting, and the ability to boil water for a hot drink makes the effort entirely worthwhile. These small pockets of warmth become sanctuaries in the relentless cold, offering a brief respite. The constant awareness of the depth of the trench, of being below ground level, creates a unique psychological pressure. You are literally living in a hole, cut off from the world above. This subterranean existence can feel isolating, suffocating, and unnatural. The longing for the open sky, for the feeling of being on solid, untrenched ground, is a profound and persistent ache. It's a feeling of being buried alive, metaphorically speaking, even if you are technically above ground. The sheer physical exhaustion is not just about muscle aches, but a deeper systemic weariness. Your body functions on minimal sleep, poor nutrition, and constant stress. Every system is running on empty, and the simplest tasks feel like monumental efforts. Your movements become slower, your reactions dulled, and your mind struggles to stay sharp. This deep-seated fatigue is a constant companion, a heavy blanket that smothers any remaining energy or enthusiasm. Even basic cognitive functions, like remembering small details or making quick decisions, become difficult. And the sheer noise of it all, even in quiet periods, there's a constant hum of distant activity. The chatter of voices, the clatter of equipment, the drip of water. It's rarely silent. Your ears are always on alert, straining to interpret every sound, every distant rumble or whistle. This constant auditory stimulation prevents true rest, keeping your nervous system perpetually on edge. The quiet moments, when they do happen, are almost unnerving in their rarity. The omnipresent threat of collapsing walls, especially in areas of poorly constructed trench or after heavy rain, adds another layer of anxiety. The earth itself feels unstable, alive with the potential for sudden, crushing danger. You learn to eye the walls suspiciously, to listen for telltale creaks and groans, knowing that a moment of negligence could lead to being buried alive. This precariousness of your shelter, the very ground you stand on, is a constant, unsettling thought, and the relentless feeling of being perpetually wet, whether from rain, ground seepage, or simply the pervasive dampness of the earth. You are rarely, if ever, truly dry. Your clothes cling uncomfortably, your skin feels clammy, and the internal chill never quite leaves you. This constant state of dampness gnaws at your morale, making you long for the warmth and comfort of a dry environment with an intensity you've never known. It's a physical discomfort that settles deep into your bones. The isolation, even amidst hundreds of others, is a strange paradox. While you are never alone physically, the mental and emotional isolation from your former life, from family and friends, can be profound. The vast gulf between your current reality and the world you left behind creates a sense of detachment, a feeling of being in a different universe. You carry your burdens internally, sharing only fragments with your comrades. The longing for genuine connection, for someone who truly understands the before, is a constant ache, and the constant presence of vermin. Not just rats, but mice, slugs, and an endless array of insects. They are everywhere, in every crevice, under every loose board, scurrying through the mud. Their presence is a constant reminder of the unsanitary conditions and the grim reality of your existence. You learn to live with them, to ignore their rustling and scurrying, but their presence is a subtle, unsettling addition to the oppressive environment. The sheer scale of the operation, the seemingly endless network of trenches stretching for miles, can be overwhelming. You are just one small cog in an incomprehensibly vast machine, your individual existence feeling insignificant in the face of such monumental effort. This sense of being a tiny part of something so massive can be both comforting and terrifying, a reminder of both your insignificance and your essential role. It can be difficult to grasp the enormity of what you are a part of, or to see any end to it, and the limited visibility. The trench walls, often higher than your head, restrict your view of the world. You see only a narrow strip of sky, a muddy wall, and the backs of your comrades. This confined perspective adds to the claustrophobia, creating a sense of being perpetually enclosed and cut off from the wider world. You yearn for an unobstructed view, for the ability to see horizons and open spaces. The lack of control over your own destiny is a profound psychological burden. Every aspect of your life, when you eat, when you sleep, where you go, what you do is dictated by external forces, by orders from above, or by the unpredictable nature of the environment. This powerlessness is deeply unsettling, stripping away your autonomy and leaving you feeling like a pawn in a much larger, more dangerous game. You learn to obey, to suppress your own desires, and to simply exist within the confines of someone else's plan. And the constant cycle of digging and repairing. The trenches are living, breathing entities, constantly shifting, crumbling, and requiring maintenance. You dig out collapses, reinforce weak sections, clear drainage ditches, and endlessly patch up sandbags. It's a Sisyphean task, a never-ending battle against the forces of nature, a physical manifestation of the futility that often permeates trench life. Your hands are perpetually sore, covered in blisters and calluses. The limited communication with the outside world adds to the sense of isolation. Letters from home are cherished beyond measure, read and reread until the paper is soft and worn. But they are infrequent, and the news they bring is always delayed, leaving you feeling disconnected from the lives of your loved ones. The struggle to write back, to convey the reality of your situation without causing undue worry, is a constant challenge. These letters are a lifeline, but also a painful reminder of what you are missing. And the simple fact of having nowhere truly comfortable to sit or lie down. Every surface is hard, cold, damp, or muddy. Your body never gets a chance to truly relax, to stretch out and unwind. This constant physical discomfort leads to a perpetual state of restlessness and inability to find true repose. You are always braced, always ready, always on edge, even when trying to rest. The sounds of coughing and sneezing, the constant clearing of throats, and the occasional retching of a sick comrade form a grim symphony of human suffering. These sounds are a constant reminder of the vulnerability of the human body in such harsh conditions, and the ease with which sickness spreads through the cramped, unsanitary environment. They are sounds that you learn to ignore, but they underscore the ever-present threat of illness. And the smell of stale food, left too long, or the faint, sickly, sweet scent of decay, adds to the noxious atmosphere. It's a constant battle against putrefaction, against the natural processes of decomposition that are accelerated in the damp, crowded trench. This pervasive odor contributes to the general sense of disgust and discomfort that defines trench life. The struggle to keep your few personal items dry and intact is a constant battle against the elements. A book becomes warped and damp, a photograph might smudge, and even a simple piece of paper becomes fragile and soft. This constant fight to preserve the few connections you have to your past adds to the daily frustrations. The small victories, like managing to keep a letter dry, are disproportionately satisfying. And the feeling of grime and grit constantly beneath your fingernails and coating your hands, despite any efforts to clean them. It's a physical manifestation of the all-pervasive dirt, a constant reminder of the unsanitary conditions. The desire for a simple clean wash, to feel truly scrubbed, becomes an almost obsessive longing. The subtle, ongoing threat of illness, more so than the visible dangers, becomes a source of pervasive anxiety. The knowledge that a simple cold can turn into something far more serious in this environment, that a minor cut can fester into a dangerous infection, means you are constantly monitoring your own body, listening for any signs of weakness. This internal vigilance adds another layer of psychological stress, and the utter absence of modern conveniences. No instant communication, no climate control, no easy access to clean water or nutritious food. You are stripped down to the bare essentials, forced to confront the stark realities of survival without any of the comforts you take for granted. This forced simplicity is initially shocking, then simply becomes the new normal, a life devoid of ease. The constant drip of water from the dugout ceiling, forming small puddles on the floor, is an irritating but ubiquitous sound. It's a reminder of the relentless dampness that permeates everything, a sound that can both soothe and annoy, depending on your mental state. It's the sound of the earth itself, slowly but surely reclaiming what you have dug, and the sheer mental fortitude required to simply get through each day, each hour, each minute, without succumbing to despair. It's a constant battle against your own mind, against the whispers of hopelessness, against the desire to simply give up. This inner struggle is often more exhausting than any physical labor, a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure. The overwhelming feeling of being just a number, a small, interchangeable part of a vast military machine, can be profoundly dehumanizing. Your individual identity, your unique life, seems to fade into the collective, absorbed by the overwhelming demands of the environment. This loss of personal significance is a subtle but powerful psychological assault. You become part of the trench rather than an individual in it, and the limited opportunities for personal expression or individuality. Everyone wears the same uniform, performs similar tasks, and exists within the same confined spaces. There's little room for personal flair or unique interests. This enforced conformity can be stifling, making you long for the days when you could choose your own path and express your own personality. The knowledge that your next meal might be the same as your last, and the one after that, creates a profound sense of culinary monotony. The bland, repetitive nature of the food means that eating becomes a chore rather than a pleasure, simply a necessary act to sustain life. Your taste buds yearn for variety, for fresh flavors, but are met with a relentless sameness, and the difficulty of performing even the simplest personal tasks. Changing clothes, cleaning teeth, shaving, all become awkward, public, and uncomfortable endeavors in the cramped, muddy environment. There's no space, no privacy, and no proper facilities, turning basic hygiene into an undignified struggle. The pervasive, earthy smell of the trench, a blend of damp soil, decaying wood, and human activity, becomes so ingrained that you almost forget what clean air smells like. It's a constant, heavy presence, a scent that will likely forever be associated with this brutal period of your life. It permeates your uniform, your skin, and even your memories. And the psychological strain of constantly being on, even during moments of supposed rest. Your mind is always scanning for threats, always listening for commands, always prepared for the unexpected. This perpetual state of heightened alertness prevents true relaxation and contributes to an overwhelming sense of fatigue. You are always ready, always vigilant. The simple joy of a sunny day feels muted and almost irrelevant within the confines of the trench. While the sun might warm the upper lip of the parapet, its rays struggle to penetrate the damp depths of your dugout. You long for the feeling of direct sunlight on your skin, for the warmth and cheer it brings, but it remains largely out of reach. And the sounds of water, dripping, squelching, gurgling, are a constant auditory reminder of the pervasive dampness. It's a monotonous symphony of wetness, a sound that becomes so familiar it almost fades into the background, yet always remains a subtle source of irritation and discomfort. The feeling of soggy ground underfoot is a perpetual reminder of the challenge. The lack of personal space extends to even basic bodily functions. The primitive nature of trench latrines, often just a deep pit, offers no privacy and contributes to the overall unsanitary conditions. This complete lack of dignity surrounding such fundamental needs adds to the dehumanizing aspects of trench life, forcing you to shed societal norms. And the constant battle against pests, from the brazen rats to the microscopic lice, is a testament to the resilience of nature, even in such a desolate environment. Their presence is a perpetual source of irritation, a reminder of the fragility of human comfort in the face of such overwhelming natural forces. You learn to share your space with creatures you'd normally recoil from. The monotonous routine, day after day, without the variation of weekends or holidays, blurs the passage of time. One day bleeds into the next, and the sense of individual moments loses its distinctiveness. This unceasing sameness can be profoundly disorienting, making it difficult to maintain a sense of progression or hope for an end. And the feeling of perpetual hunger, not necessarily ravenous, but a constant dull ache, a sign that your body is always working harder than it's being fueled. The rations are designed for sustenance, not satisfaction, and the longing for truly fulfilling, tasty food becomes a persistent background thought. The inability to escape the sounds and smells of your comrades, no matter how much you might wish for a moment of quiet or fresh air, is a constant pressure. You are perpetually immersed in the collective human experience of the trench, with no retreat. This enforced intimacy, while sometimes fostering camaraderie, can also be mentally exhausting. And the small, daily irritations, a snagged uniform, a boot stuck in the mud, a poorly tied knot, add up over time, chipping away at your patience and resilience. These minor frustrations are constant, cumulative, and contribute to a simmering sense of exasperation. The pervasive dampness and cold lead to a persistent chill that seems to settle deep in your bones, a physical discomfort that your thin uniform struggles to alleviate. Your body is constantly expending energy just to stay warm, leading to a profound sense of exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to cure. You dream of warmth, of sunlight, of dry clothes, but wake to the same damp reality. And the taste of stale water, often from a communal ration container, becomes the norm. It's never truly refreshing, and the desire for a crisp, clean glass of water becomes an almost luxurious fantasy, a memory from a different, forgotten world. The visual monotony of the trench itself, endless brown earth, sandbags and barbed wire, is psychologically draining. There's little to stimulate the eye, little to distract the mind, contributing to the pervasive sense of boredom and confinement. You crave color, natural beauty, any visual novelty, but are met with a relentless palette of dullness. And the weight of your equipment, always present, always pressing against your shoulders or back. Your rifle, your pack, your tools, they are extensions of your body, but heavy and cumbersome, adding to the physical strain of every movement, every step through the mud. The sheer unpredictability of life in the trench is mentally taxing. While there are routines, there's always the underlying current of the unexpected. A sudden downpour, a crumbling wall, a change in orders. This constant uncertainty means you can never truly relax, always waiting for the next unknown challenge to emerge, always poised for a shift in your tenuous reality. And the profound appreciation for tiny comforts, a warm sip of tea, a dry pair of socks, a moment of sunshine, a letter from home. These are not just appreciated, they are revered, clung to as evidence that some small beauty or kindness still exists in this desolate world. They are vital anchors. The absence of green, of growing things, is a stark reminder of the unnatural environment. The earth is churned and barren, the trees reduced to stumps, the landscape devastated. You yearn for the sight of lush grass, vibrant flowers, or the simple beauty of a living tree, but are met only with desolation. And the constant physical contact with the muddy, cold earth, whether sitting, standing, or moving, ensures that you are never truly clean, never truly warm. It's a persistent, invasive sensation that permeates your uniform and your skin, a tactile symbol of your immersion in this unforgiving landscape. The ever-present sounds of human activity, muffled conversations, the clatter of mess tins, the occasional cough or sneeze, create a constant low-level din that prevents true quiet or rest. Your ears are always tuned in, processing every sound, unable to fully disengage from the collective noise of survival. And the subtle, yet pervasive, smell of disinfectant, mingling with the natural odors of the trench, is a grim reminder of the constant battle against disease and infection. It's a scent that symbolizes the desperation to maintain some semblance of sanitation in an inherently unsanitary place. The mental exhaustion that comes from constant vigilance, from always being on guard, is profound. Your mind is never truly at ease, never fully relaxed, always scanning for threats or listening for commands. This persistent state of alertness wears you down, making concentration difficult and leaving you feeling mentally drained, even after sleep. And the simple act of standing upright, stretching your body to its full height, becomes a cherished luxury, often impossible within the confines of the trench walls. You are forced to live in a perpetual crouch, a physical posture that mirrors the mental burden of your existence, never fully free or unconstrained. The monotonous diet, consisting primarily of canned and dried goods, means that every meal is functional rather than enjoyable. Your body is fueled, but your palate is rarely satisfied, and the craving for fresh, wholesome food becomes a persistent, almost obsessive thought. The memory of home-cooked meals is a tantalizing dream, and the constant struggle against the elements, the rain, the mud, the cold, the wind, it's a relentless, draining battle that consumes much of your physical and mental energy. You are pitted against the raw power of nature, amplified by the unforgiving environment of the trench. The psychological weight of boredom, an insidious enemy that gnaws at your spirit, is immense. The endless hours of waiting, with little to occupy your mind, can lead to a profound sense of listlessness and despair. You crave stimulation, novelty, anything to break the relentless monotony, but are often met with only the unchanging reality of the trench. And the feeling of being perpetually dirty, a deep-seated grime that seems to cling to your very being, is demoralizing. Despite any efforts to clean yourself, you are never truly fresh, a constant reminder of the unsanitary conditions and the loss of personal dignity. The absence of color, the endless drab browns and grays of the trench, creates a visually depressing environment. Your eyes yearn for vibrant hues, for the beauty of nature, but are met only with a desolate, monochromatic landscape. This visual monotony contributes to the overall sense of weariness and hopelessness, and the sounds of shuffling feet, soft murmurs, and the occasional cough from your comrades create a constant, low-level hum of human presence that never truly allows for silence or solitude. You are always aware of others, always immersed in the collective life of the trench. The challenge of maintaining mental fortitude in the face of constant discomfort and danger is a profound one. Your will to endure is tested daily, hourly, even minute by minute, against the relentless pressures of the environment. It's a battle of the mind, a struggle to keep despair at bay that requires immense inner strength. And the knowledge that your world has shrunk to the confines of these earthen walls, that your existence is defined by the trench, can be claustrophobic. The world beyond seems distant and unreal, making it difficult to imagine a life outside this confined, dangerous space. The pervasive dampness that settles into your bones, a chilling, inescapable cold that no amount of clothing seems to truly combat. It's a discomfort that gnaws at your energy and your morale, making you yearn for the simple warmth and dryness of a heated room. And the persistent itching from lice, a maddening, relentless irritation that defies all efforts to quell it. It's a constant, physical reminder of the unsanitary conditions and the loss of personal hygiene. A small but significant torment in an already difficult existence. The feeling of grit and mud under your nails, between your toes, and ingrained in your skin is a constant, irritating sensation. You are never truly clean, and this pervasive dirtiness is a continuous assault on your senses and your sense of self. It's a constant battle against the elements, a losing one, and the psychological burden of waiting, the endless grinding tedium of inaction punctuated by moments of intense, heart-stopping fear. This unpredictable rhythm of boredom and terror is profoundly draining, challenging your patience and your ability to cope with uncertainty. The monotonous taste of your rations, the same bland, functional food day in and day out, means that eating becomes a chore rather than a pleasure. Your body is nourished, but your spirit remains untouched by culinary joy, longing for the simple variety and flavor of a home-cooked meal. And the lack of personal space, the constant proximity to dozens of other people, means that solitude and privacy are non-existent. Every action is witnessed, every sound overheard, leading to a feeling of being perpetually exposed and never truly alone, a mental strain in itself. The visual monotony of the trench, the endless brown earth, the crude timber, the dark shadows, offers little to stimulate the eye or lift the spirits. Your gaze longs for color, for natural beauty, for anything to break the relentless dullness, but is met only with the stark, utilitarian landscape of survival. And the sounds of shuffling boots, muted conversations, and the occasional creak of wooden supports create a constant, low-level background noise that prevents true silence, keeping your senses perpetually engaged, even when you are trying to rest. The physical strain of constant bending, stooping, and climbing within the trench, coupled with the heavy equipment, leads to a persistent ache in your back, knees, and shoulders. Your body is constantly working, never truly resting, and this relentless physical burden wears you down. And the subtle, yet ever-present, smell of damp earth, mixed with human odors and the faint tang of cordite, becomes the pervasive scent of your new reality. It's a smell that clings to everything, a constant reminder of the environment, a smell you will never forget. The emotional toll of being disconnected from the outside world, save for infrequent, delayed letters, is profound. The sense of isolation from loved ones, the inability to share your experiences or receive immediate comfort, creates a deep emotional ache. You live in a different reality, one that is difficult to bridge, and the sounds of the wind whistling through the trench, creating mournful, unsettling echoes that add to the pervasive sense of unease. It's a lonely sound, a reminder of the vast, desolate landscape that surrounds your confined world. The small, insidious discomforts, a pebble in your boot, a torn piece of uniform, a persistent cough, accumulate over time, chipping away at your patience and resilience. These minor irritations are constant, relentless, and contribute to an overwhelming sense of exasperation, a constant background noise of annoyance, and the sheer physical weariness that permeates every fiber of your being, a deep-seated fatigue that no amount of sleep in this environment seems to alleviate. Your body is simply running on empty, perpetually tired, constantly struggling against exhaustion. The constant vigilance required, the never-ending need to be alert for threats, whether seen or unseen, is a profound mental strain. Your mind is always scanning, always processing, always on guard, preventing any true relaxation or peace. This perpetual state of heightened awareness wears you down over time, making it difficult to concentrate on anything else. And the simple fact that there is no off button, no escape, no temporary reprieve from the trench is perhaps the hardest reality of all. You are here, and you will remain here, until ordered otherwise, a prisoner of circumstance and duty.